vitamins to strengthen your legs, prevent leg cramps in seniors. Many seniors have leg cramps at night, legs feeling weaker, shakier, slower than they used to. Most people think it's just age, but the truth is, it could be a vitamin you're missing and never knew you needed. Today, we reveal the top 8 vitamins to strengthen your legs and prevent cramps in seniors. Simple, science-backed, and life-changing. So stay with us to the very end because what your legs need might just surprise you. And before we dive in, tell us, where are you watching from today? We'd love to hear from you. Number 8, vitamin B6. It may come as a surprise that something as small and quiet as vitamin B6 can determine how strong and steady the legs feel each day. Many people believe that heaviness, tingling, or fatigue in the legs are simply the results of aging. Yet science shows that a shortage of vitamin B6 can be the hidden reason. This nutrient is essential for producing red blood cells that deliver oxygen to muscles, and it also helps nerves send clear signals to guide every movement. When B6 is lacking, steps feel heavier, balance falters, and energy fades too quickly. Understanding this truth is not meant to alarm, but to empower, because knowledge provides the ability to make choices that protect independence and quality of life. In Ohio, a grandmother in her late 60s felt discouraged when her legs tired quickly during walks with her grandchildren. She believed her strength was gone forever. A dietitian encouraged her to add simple sources of vitamin B6 to her meals, such as chickpeas in soups, bananas at breakfast, and baked salmon on Sundays. Within a few weeks, her legs felt lighter, her stamina returned, and she was able to join her family on weekend hikes again. Across the Atlantic in Germany, an older man who once struggled with tingling in his feet began incorporating poultry, fortified cereals, and potatoes into his diet. He not only reduced the numbness, but rediscovered the joy of gardening each afternoon. These stories remind us that the body at any age responds gratefully when given the right care. Vitamin B6 is available in everyday foods that can be woven into comforting meals. A cup of lentil stew with chickpeas provides a steady supply of B6. A ripe banana sliced over warm oatmeal in the morning delivers both sweetness and strength. Grilled salmon, rich not only in B6 but also in protein and healthy fats, makes an ideal dinner paired with roasted vegetables. Even a simple baked potato with its skin offers a gentle boost. The recommended daily amount for older adults is around 1.5 milligrams for women and 1.7 milligrams for men, a modest goal that can be reached through ordinary meals rather than complex plans. For the best benefit, B6-rich foods can be timed thoughtfully. Breakfast is an excellent moment to include a banana or fortified cereal, fueling red blood cell production and giving energy for the day ahead. Lunch or dinner that combines protein with B6 sources supports muscle repair and endurance. An evening portion of poultry or a light snack of nuts can calm the body and nourish the nervous system through the night. Vitamin B6 teaches that strength and steadiness are not lost with years, but are maintained by care, wisdom, and consistency. When legs move freely and with confidence, it is not only mobility that is restored, but also dignity and joy. The awareness of this single nutrient shows that health is not just about avoiding illness, but about building the foundation for meaningful experiences each day. Knowledge becomes the key, and every thoughtful meal becomes a step toward vitality, resilience, and freedom. Number 7, magnesium. Not long ago in Florida, a woman in her late 60s began waking up each night with painful cramps that gripped her calves. At first, she thought this was simply a part of aging, something she would have to endure. But after a visit to her physician and a simple blood test, she learned that she was deficient in magnesium. With a few changes to her daily habits, adding a cup of cooked spinach at lunch, sprinkling pumpkin seeds over her morning cereal, and enjoying half an avocado with dinner, her cramps diminished, her sleep improved, and her mornings felt lighter. Her story mirrors the experience of many older adults, because magnesium deficiency is far more common than most people realize. According to the National Institutes of Health, nearly 50% of older adults in the United States consume less magnesium than recommended. This is significant because research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition has shown that low magnesium intake is directly linked to increased increased muscle cramps, poor sleep quality, and reduced bone density. Another large-scale study from the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging reported that seniors with higher magnesium intake had a 30% lower risk of mobility impairment compared to those with low intake. These numbers remind us that what seems like small daily discomforts, night cramps, restless legs, sluggish walking, often have a clear nutritional cause and solution. Magnesium is essential for muscle relaxation after contraction, for steady nerve function, and for proper bone mineralization. Without enough magnesium, calcium cannot be properly directed into bones, which may contribute to both stiffness and weakness. The recommended dietary allowance in the United States is about 320 milligrams per day for women and 420 milligrams for men over 50. Meeting these levels can reduce the risk not only of cramps but also of osteoporosis and even heart rhythm disturbances, as highlighted in research from the American Heart Association. The good news is that magnesium is widely available in foods that are both comforting and easy to prepare. A single ounce of pumpkin seeds provides nearly 150 milligrams of magnesium. 1 cup of cooked spinach offers about 150 milligrams as well, while a medium baked potato with skin adds another 45 milligrams. Black beans, almonds, and avocados are also excellent choices. By building meals around these foods, it becomes possible to meet daily needs without difficulty. For example, a dinner of black bean chili with a side of baked potato not only warms the table, but also provides more than half of the day's magnesium requirement. For those who struggle to meet these needs through diet alone, supplements such as magnesium citrate or glycinate can be effective. Studies from the National Institute on Aging suggest that supplementation under medical supervision can quickly reduce the frequency of cramps and improve mobility in older adults. Timing intake with dinner or an evening snack may also enhance sleep quality, giving the body a chance to repair and restore overnight. Discomfort and cramps are not just signs of getting older. They are the body's way of signaling a missing piece of nourishment. By listening carefully and making intentional choices, strength and calm can be restored. Magnesium is more than a mineral. It is a daily reminder that health in later life does not come from resignation, but from knowledge, consistency, and the quiet wisdom of giving the body what it truly needs. Number 6, potassium. There are mornings when the legs feel light, steady, and ready for the day. And there are mornings when they betray with a sharp cramp, a tremor while standing, or a stiffness that makes every step uncertain. The difference is often tied to potassium, a mineral that quietly directs how nerves and muscles talk to each other. Without enough of it, messages from the brain reach the legs more slowly, muscles tighten when they should release, and even the heartbeat can lose its rhythm. With enough potassium, movements become smoother, steadier, and bones are protected from the silent erosion that comes with age. Doctors and scientists agree on how much is needed. Women require about 2,600 milligrams each day, while men need closer to 3,400 milligrams. Yet surveys show that most Americans fall short. The result can be more than discomfort. Low potassium is connected to cramps at night, weaker bones, and greater risk of falls. A large study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets richer in potassium helped older adults preserve stronger bones and avoid fractures, giving them more freedom in daily life. The good news is that potassium is not hidden in exotic foods. It is present in meals many have loved for years. A medium baked potato with its skin carries nearly 1,000 milligrams, almost 1/3 of the daily need for women. A cup of cooked beans offers even more. Spinach, sweet potatoes, avocados, and oranges add variety and color while quietly strengthening legs and bones. A warm bowl of bean soup at lunch, a baked potato with dinner, or a simple orange at breakfast can each be a gentle step towards steadier health. Caution is important too. Potassium tablets may seem like a quick fix, but for those with kidney problems or taking certain blood pressure medications, extra potassium can build up and become harmful. Doctors remind us that food is the safest and most natural way to nourish the body with this mineral. Potassium keeps the heart steady, bones protected, and legs ready to carry through the day. It proves that strength is not only about exercise or willpower, but about giving the body what it quietly asks for. Each thoughtful meal becomes more than food. It becomes reassurance, steadiness, and the promise of another day lived with confidence. Knowledge about potassium is not meant to frighten but to empower, showing that with simple choices the body can continue to serve well, step after step. Number 5, vitamin K. Picture a garden filled with stones waiting to be placed into a pathway. If each stone is carefully guided into its proper place, the path becomes strong, smooth, and easy to walk on. But if the stones are scattered without direction, the ground is uneven, unstable, and even dangerous. In the same way, calcium needs vitamin K to act as the guide, ensuring that it settles into bones where it creates strength, rather than drifting into arteries where it can cause stiffness and harm. Without vitamin K, bones may weaken and blood vessels may harden, but with it, the body preserves both resilience and flexibility. This truth has been shown in science as well as in everyday life. In Wisconsin, an older farmer in his 70s began noticing stiffness in his knees and growing fear of falling when tending his cattle. A nutritionist suggested more leafy greens in his meals, reminding him of the collard greens and kale he grew up eating in hearty stews. Within months of adding them back into his diet, along with a slice of aged cheese in the evenings, he felt stronger, steadier, and returned to walking his fields with confidence. In the Netherlands, a grandmother once devoted to baking bread every morning found her balance slipping. After learning that vitamin K2 from traditional foods like sauerkraut and hard cheese could support both her bones and circulation, she returned to her daily baking routine without fear of stumbling. Research echoes these experiences. The Journal of Bone and Mineral Research reported that seniors with higher vitamin K intake had up to 30% fewer hip fractures. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that vitamin K improves bone density while also protecting the heart by keeping calcium away from the arteries. This dual benefit makes vitamin K essential for anyone seeking both strength and freedom of movement in later years. Vitamin K is not difficult to find. A single cup of cooked kale provides far more than the daily requirement. Spinach, collards, and Swiss chard are equally powerful allies. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, aged cheeses, and even natto, a traditional Japanese dish, are excellent sources of vitamin K2, which stays active in the body longer. Meals can be simple and comforting. A spinach salad with olive oil at lunch, collard greens braised with garlic at dinner, or a small piece of cheese shared with fruit in the evening. Women need about 90 micrograms per day, and men about 120 micrograms, amounts easily reached with a single serving of leafy greens. Care must be taken for those on blood-thinning medication, not to avoid vitamin K, but to keep intake steady and predictable, working together with a physician to maintain safe balance. The lesson is not to fear this nutrient, but to respect its guiding role. Just as it directs calcium into bones, it reminds that strength comes from guidance and intention, not from chance. Each plate of greens or each serving of fermented food is more than nutrition. It is a step towards steadiness, dignity, and the freedom to move without fear. For many older adults, the rediscovery of these foods is also the rediscovery of confidence, proving that even in later years, the right guidance can build a path as firm and reliable as stone. Number 4, vitamin B12. Have you ever felt a strange heaviness in your legs, as if every step took more effort than it should, or perhaps a tingling in your feet that made walking across the room feel uncertain? Many people shrug and say, that's just getting older. But here's the surprising truth. Sometimes it isn't age at all. Often, it's a lack of vitamin B12. Now, isn't it odd? The body can be given healthy meals, fish, eggs, even dairy, and yet still come up short. Why? Because as the stomach ages, it doesn't absorb B12 the way it used to. So even with a balanced diet, the nerves may not get the nourishment they need. And when nerves don't get what they need, the legs lose some of their strength and coordination. Think about this. Have you ever noticed someone who seems to stumble for no reason or whose legs tire after just a short walk? That was the story of a retired teacher in Pennsylvania. She loved walking her dog, but suddenly, even a few blocks left her exhausted. She thought she was simply slowing down. A doctor checked her blood and found her B12 levels were low. With a simple plan, monthly B12 shots and fortified foods, she was soon walking her dog again, smiling because her strength had returned. A similar story came from Germany. An older man who once cycled every morning began to feel his legs heavy and clumsy. He assumed it was time to put the bicycle away. But after discovering his B12 deficiency and starting supplements, he was back on his bike within months, pedaling through the countryside like he used to. Science backs up these everyday experiences. Studies show that nearly 1 in 5 older adults in the United States has low B12, often due to reduced stomach acid or long-term use of heartburn medication. The good news is that it doesn't take much to correct it. Just 2.4 micrograms per day is the recommended amount for adults, and the body responds quickly when it gets enough. Foods like salmon, clams, eggs, yogurt, and fortified cereals are all excellent sources. And for those who have trouble absorbing it, supplements or injections prescribed by a doctor can make all the difference. So let's ask one more question. What if weakness, numbness, or stumbling weren't just part of aging, but a signal that the body is asking for B12? Wouldn't it be reassuring to know there's a solution within reach? That's the real lesson here. Legs can regain strength, energy can return, and balance can improve when the body receives this essential vitamin. It's not about fighting age. It's about giving the body what it needs to keep living with confidence and joy. Number 3, calcium. Keeping the legs strong is not only about taking steps across the living room. It is about walking side by side with a grandchild on a sunny afternoon, sharing laughter without worrying about stumbling. It is about swaying to a slow song with a lifelong partner, feeling steady and graceful. It is about climbing the stairs in one's own home, carrying a basket of laundry, and knowing there is no need to wait for someone else's arm. Calcium is more than a mineral. It is the quiet foundation that makes these ordinary but precious moments possible. Bones that are rich in calcium are like well-built beams in a home, holding steady through the years. When calcium runs low, those beams weaken, and the smallest misstep can lead to a fracture that changes life in an instant. The National Osteoporosis Foundation warns that 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over the age of 50 will suffer a fracture from weakened bones. Yet this fate is not inevitable. With about 1,200 milligrams of calcium each day, paired with vitamin D to help absorption, the risk can be lowered and the body given the strength to keep moving freely. Calcium is not difficult to find. A glass of milk in the morning, a serving of yogurt at lunch, or a piece of cheese with fruit in the afternoon can bring the body closer to its needs. Leafy greens like kale and collards, or a simple dish of baked sardines, may recall familiar meals from childhood. These foods do more than nourish, they quietly reinforce the body's framework, giving bones the density to resist fractures and muscles the support to contract smoothly. Consider the story of an older woman in California who loved tending her garden. She stopped one spring because she feared her bones were too brittle and that bending might cause injury. With guidance, she began adding more calcium-rich foods into her diet: fortified milk with breakfast, kale salads at dinner, and yogurt with berries as an evening snack. Within months, she not only returned to her garden, but also discovered a new confidence in climbing the small ladder to trim her roses. For her, calcium was not just nutrition. It was the return of joy and independence. Calcium is not about numbers in a medical chart, but about the ability to live fully without fear. Every serving of yogurt, every glass of milk, every plate of greens is a choice for freedom, for dignity, and for the strength to enjoy life's simple pleasures. When thinking of calcium, imagine not only bones, but also the sound of footsteps climbing stairs with ease, the rhythm of a dance shared with a loved one, and the laughter of a walk in the park. That is what this mineral truly protects, the everyday moments that make life rich and meaningful. Number 2, vitamin D. In a quiet neighborhood in Oregon, a retired carpenter began to notice something troubling. Each morning when he rose from bed, his legs felt heavy and unsteady, as if the ground beneath him could not be trusted. He stopped taking long walks with his wife, avoided carrying groceries up the porch steps, and eventually gave up the woodshop he had loved since boyhood. To him, it felt like age was simply winning the battle. But when his doctor ordered a simple blood test, the truth was different. His vitamin D levels were very low. That discovery marked the beginning of change. The doctor explained what science has shown for years, that vitamin D is not only a helper for calcium, but also a direct protector of muscles and bones. Without it, the quick muscle fibers that react to slips and stumbles weaken, making falls far more likely. The carpenter was surprised to learn that nearly 40% of older adults in America share this same deficiency, and that studies published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society have proven that restoring vitamin D can reduce the risk of falls by nearly 1/3. Armed with this knowledge, he decided to act. Each morning he began stepping outside onto his porch for 15 minutes, letting the sun touch his arms and face. He added a glass of fortified milk to breakfast, enjoyed salmon once or twice a week, and followed his doctor's advice to take a daily supplement of 1,000 IU. Slowly, the heaviness in his legs began to lift. Within a few months, he found himself walking the neighborhood again, his stride steady and confident. By springtime, he had reopened his woodshop, sanding boards and building small benches for his grandchildren. For him, vitamin D was never just a nutrient. It was the return of freedom, the ability to move without fear, to hold his wife's hand on long walks, to climb the steps of his porch carrying the groceries himself, and to kneel in his garden, knowing he could stand again without struggle. What once felt like a decline in age turned out to be a signal that his body needed care and nourishment. Vitamin D is not about chasing youth, but about protecting dignity and independence. A little sunlight, a mindful meal, and a supplement when needed can transform weakness into strength and uncertainty into confidence. His journey shows that the body, even in later years, responds with gratitude when given what it has been missing. Vitamin D, in the end, is less about numbers on a chart and more about preserving the simple joys that make life full: walking, working, laughing, and living with the freedom to move toward what matters most. Number 1, protein. This is the most important part of the story of strong legs and lasting independence. Vitamins and minerals play their roles as helpers and guides, but without protein, there is no structure to support. Protein is the foundation, the material that builds and repairs muscle fibers, and the force that keeps the body moving with confidence. Without enough of it, even the best intake of calcium, vitamin D, or magnesium cannot prevent weakness. With it, every other nutrient has the chance to work to its fullest. Consider the experience of an 80-year-old man in Iowa who loved tending his farm. As the years passed, his meals grew smaller, lighter, and he often skipped protein because chewing meat became difficult. Slowly, his legs weakened, and the walk to his barn seemed longer each day. A dietitian encouraged him to rethink protein, not as a burden, but as his strongest ally. He began adding soft scrambled eggs at breakfast, a bowl of lentil soup at lunch, and Greek yogurt with fruit in the evening. Within weeks, his stamina improved, and by summer, he was back in the fields, steady on his feet. Science strongly supports what his body told him. Research from the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association shows that older adults who meet their protein needs maintain more muscle mass, recover faster from illness, and experience fewer falls. The recommended goal for adults over 50 is around 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight each day. For a 150-pound person, that means 90 to 120 grams, spread throughout the day rather than consumed in one meal. Protein does not need to be complicated. It can be as familiar as a slice of roasted chicken, a cup of beans simmered with herbs, or a piece of salmon grilled on a summer evening. Dairy foods such as milk and yogurt, or plant-based options like tofu, offer gentle choices for those who prefer variety. What matters most is consistency. Each serving builds muscle strength, fuels repair, and preserves the ability to rise from a chair, climb stairs, or carry groceries without help. The deeper truth is that protein is not only about muscles, it is about life itself. It is about the freedom to walk hand in hand with grandchildren, to join a community dance, to stand tall while singing in church, or to simply move through the day without fear of falling. Every bite of protein is a decision for independence and dignity. This final piece reminds us that health is not just about preventing illness, but about preserving the ability to live fully. Protein is the anchor of that vision. It is the quiet strength that holds the body together, the safeguard of resilience, and the key to continuing the moments that matter most. This is why protein, above all else, is the most important part of keeping the legs strong, the body capable, and the spirit free. Every step taken in later life is more than movement. It is a declaration of independence, dignity, and joy. What we have uncovered through these 8 vital nutrients is not simply a list of vitamins and minerals, but a map back to strength, balance, and freedom. The stories we explored remind us of something profound. Heaviness in the legs, sudden cramps at night, or a stumble on the stairs are not always inevitable signs of aging. More often, they are signals from the body asking for nourishment. Vitamin B6 keeps nerves and red blood cells in harmony. Magnesium relaxes restless muscles and restores calm. Potassium steadies both movement and heartbeat, while vitamin K guides calcium to build stronger bones instead of hardening arteries. Vitamin B12 proves that energy and balance can return when absorption is corrected. Calcium lays the foundation for resilience. Vitamin D shines light into the body to restore muscle power, and protein binds it all together as the anchor of independence. The value here is not in the numbers alone, but in the lesson they reveal. Aging does not mean decline. It means adapting with wisdom. Each nutrient is an ally. Each meal, each moment in the sun, each intentional choice becomes a tool for protecting the freedom to walk, to dance, to climb, to live without fear. And perhaps the most important truth of all is that the body, even in its later years, responds with gratitude when given what it needs. The path forward is clear but personal. Everyone's needs are different, which is why it is essential to listen closely to the body and to seek guidance from trusted healthcare professionals. Tests, tailored advice, and mindful attention can make the difference between uncertainty and confidence, between dependence and independence. If this message resonates, let it be more than words. Let it become action. Choose foods that bring both comfort and nourishment. Spend time in the light of day and respect the signals that call for care. These are not small acts. They are investments in freedom, dignity, and the joy of living fully. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, do it now so you will never miss more lessons that can change the way you live and age. Share this video with someone you care about, because health is not only a gift for yourself, but a legacy for those you love. And let us know in the comments, what is one step you will take today to strengthen your body and protect your independence? Thank you for watching. May your days ahead be filled with steady steps, joyful moments, and the peace of knowing that your body is supported by knowledge, care, and love. Wishing you strength, vitality, and every blessing for the road ahead.